Hi, this is Neeraj Jaiswal and welcome to this episode. In this episode, we are going to walk through the plugins folder in the project. So the plugins which we have added for SQLite is basically added to the assets folder. When you go to this particular folder, we have slightly changed the name and structure here to suit our best practices which we are going to follow in our project. The main thing is that the whole of this operations depends on this whatever is there in the library folder. These are the basically the folder which contains the libraries which are required to support SQLite in Unity. So there are basically folders for 32-bit, 64-bit, then Android, then iPhone actually explicitly there is no library required because iPhone has by default has got support for SQLite, so it is not required. For Windows it is there. So all these libraries are pre-built and has been added here in this particular folder. Now the next thing which you need to see is the scenes folder. The scenes folder contains two scenes. One basically to create a DB and the second one is to explore the DB. So these are the two scenes which are there which comes along with this particular plugins. We'll come back to this. We'll just go to the other folders, the scripts. Now in the script folder there are couple of scripts which are supporting the scenes. Now the main script which we are interested in is the SQLite script. This is the script which is the backbone of all the logics which we are going to use for our applications. So if you open this particular script, you don't need to actually directly interact with it, but let us explore what is the code in this particular script. So I'll just wait for the Visual Studio to open. Now here is the script for SQLite. So if you let us start exploring it. So if you see, there are so many methods out there which we can utilize. So we'll go one by one. This is the basically the namespace. This is basically the exception class. Couple of more exception class are here. Some flags. Then basically the connection class. The connection class has basically couple of methods which we might not be explicitly using it if we are using the ORM, but let's go ahead. These are the connection. It takes the database path and some open flags. Basically it opens a SQLite database specified by the database path. It takes the parameter which basically specifies now the open flag is something we need to see exactly to specify whether to store data type properties as ticks or strings. So this is there. Then we can see like it has got a separate code base for different type of like for netfx core, and then for if you are using SQLite, C# SQLite, then it is a different code is there. So it has taken care of all those things. Couple of methods, supporting methods for doing the operations, the mapping, the table mapping, and then if the drop table, this will actually will lead to basically helping the ORM to work. Now this is the create table. I'm just walking you through this particular class but actually you don't need to directly interact much with this particular class if you are using the ORM, and it's very easy to use it. I'll show it. And this is the SQLite command which is being used. So you can even execute a query directly here. This is a Now this will not return you, it will just return you number of rows modified. And if you really want to run a query where you will get some rows in the then you have to do it using this one, where basically it will return you the list of rows. Here it will return a list of objects, default query. So there are several methods out here. I'm not going to go into the detail. I'm just walking you through this particular class. So you can just have a look at it. No need to change. Make sure that you don't change this particular class, because it might affect your other things unless you know what you are doing. Once you become an expert in the thing and you are more of an advanced programmer of Unity and C#, you can certainly go ahead and make changes here. So this is basically the insert class. You can add objects and some then there are some parameter based class, basically overloaded methods. So here insert or replace. So all the methods which are required in basic database operations are there. Update is there, update all is there, and see, these are basically where you are passing an object, and so it works very well with that. Next is connection string. So these are supporting classes for connecting to the database. Now comes basically the ORM. The ORM basically class will be helping you to use object oriented basically approach to your database handling using object relationship management mapping rather. So that is will help decrease many of the queries which you would have done. So it will make life easier for you. So this is the SQLite command. So as you can see, this is basically the heart of the whole plugin in terms of the code. This is the main code basically which you are going to use. So a lot of other variables are there. Now you can see for each and every type of like OS, it has got different piece of code to run. So that has been taken care. It's basically this SQLite plugin supports Mac, Windows, then your Android and iOS. So this is the whole class. This is the whole SQLite class. Now you don't need to interact with this particular class directly. What you have to do is you will go just open the data service.cs file. Now if you go there, you'll see this particular folder, this particular file is the helper file which will help you to connect to this the SQLite database using this SQLite.cs file. So all the methods are getting accessed here, and it also basically the accesses and creates a database using the object person. If you open this particular object, it is nothing but the signature of the row which is going to be added. Let us just open this the database in the Devil browser. You can see that each and everything is there. There is a corresponding item. It's int basically. int id is int based, and here you can see it is integer in the database. Similarly, the name is a varchar, while it is a string in the object class. Surname is a string, so here it is varchar, and then age is basically integer, which is that's why it is showing us int out here. So this is basically the presentation of the table out here, and when you pass on this particular line, it creates the table here. So, and as you can see, prior to that, the connection is getting created here, and for each of the different OS, like there's a different code base out there. The reason is simple: different OS keeps the database in a different path, so that's why there are the code is different for them. This was a streaming assets folder. That's why I asked you to basically keep it in the root folder of the asset. You can actually change it here, but not required. So I just wanted to keep it in the root folder itself, so that we don't disturb the main code. So this was basically the data service.cs. Now the create db script basically does nothing but calls the data service dot create db and does some operations to show the data. Similarly, the existing db script is there. So this is basically the what you can see basically comes with the SQLite plugin. So that's all from my side in this particular episode. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, keep rocking and happy coding.